Pine Hollow is the kind of town that seems paused in time. Wooden houses, dusty roads, and a silence that feels deliberate. People don't talk much here. They just nod, as if words might wake something that prefers to stay asleep. The cemetery sits right where the forest begins. No gate, no lock, just a leaning fence, a dirt path that disappears into the pines, and headstones that tilt as though they're tired of holding names. Her name was April. She worked at the diner smiling, soft-spoken, always asking how your day was, and somehow meaning it. She wasn't remarkable, but everyone in Pine Hollow liked her. She made the town feel lighter, like sunlight through thin curtains. Then she got sick, quietly, like fog rolling in through a cracked window. By the time anyone noticed, the world already felt colder. They buried her at the edge of the woods, right under a tall pine that pierced the sky. She would have liked that. That's what they said, anyway. But the woods don't care what we say. A week later, one of the graves looked disturbed. Not dug up, just shifted, like something underneath had breathed. The sheriff called it raccoons. Everyone else just stopped walking past the cemetery after dark. Because people in Pine Hollow know the difference between animals and intention. Then it happened again, and again. 5 graves, all recent, all touched. That's when the men started taking turns keeping watch. Not because they were brave, but because fear feels smaller when you face it together. Thomas Miller was among them, a quiet man, 62, hands built by work, a voice built for silence. He brought 2 friends that night, James Carter and Evan Ross. They sat on a wooden bench near the fence, coffee cooling in tin cups, listening to the trees breathe. Hours passed. Then a sound, not footsteps, not wind, just a soft shift in the air, like someone exhaling behind them. Thomas lifted the flashlight toward the woods. Between the trunks something stood, tall, thin, unmoving, no face, just an outline darker than the night around it. And it was facing them. No one spoke. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Then came the sound of soil collapsing, a grave settling where it shouldn't. April's grave. They walked forward, slowly, not running, not daring to break the stillness. There, by the disturbed mound, a figure knelt. It wasn't a body. It wasn't anything you could name. A shadow, shaped almost human, its edges bending with the fog, as if the night itself was trying to remember her. When it turned, there were no eyes, only the idea of where eyes should have been, and yet Thomas felt them, that impossible weight of being recognized. He whispered, soft, terrified, "That's not April." The shape tilted its head slightly like acknowledgement, then straightened, and the air around them grew heavy, too dense to breathe. They left the flashlight behind, walked straight to the church. Didn't run. Running would have meant believing it was real. Pastor Cole opened the door before they even knocked. He looked like a man who already knew what waited outside. He grabbed a lantern and an old book and followed them back to the cemetery. The figure still lingered near the trees, half hidden by fog, swaying gently as though listening to something deep underground. The pastor stopped several feet away, didn't yell, didn't pray loudly. He just said one line, quietly, like giving a direction. "You don't belong here." The shadow trembled, folded in on itself, and faded into the fog. No scream, no wind, just stillness, and the faint smell of pine and cold earth. By morning, the sheriff had no explanation. The town pretended to forget, but forgetting isn't the same as peace. Thomas stopped walking past the woods. James moved away. Evan stopped sleeping near windows. And when people at the diner spoke about April, they lowered their voices, like the trees might be listening. Sometimes, after midnight, dogs refused to bark. Sometimes the streetlights dim for no reason. And every so often, someone swears they see a tall shape by the pines, standing too still, as if waiting for someone to notice. And that S, when you remember what the pastor said, what everyone in Pine Hollow learned the hard way. When the moon cuts through the woods, and the wind stops just long enough for you to hear your own heartbeat. Dante, look toward the cemetery. Don't say her name. Don't say any name. Because what comes back from the woods doesn't return for bodies. It returns for the one who saw it. And if you ever wake between 2 and 3 in the morning, and the air behind you feels aware of you, don't turn around. Don't speak. Don't confirm. Some things finish arriving the moment you acknowledge them. Thank you for listening. If this story found you in the dark, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We have so many more tales to share. Until next time, stay safe, and whatever you do, don't look back.